Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm coming to y'all with another Inexpensive Knife Series episode, and this one's on a Schrade. Yep, I believe this is episode 41, and it's going to be on the Schrade SCH303M. Before I get into the video, I want to give a big thanks to Jeff, Cutlery Lover, for his little video series on these Schrades a couple years ago. He didn't review this exact one, but he did review the larger version of this knife. And as I was getting back into the knife scene, I went back and started watching a lot of those older videos that I had missed, and I really fell completely in love with the designs on the 303 and the 304. However, the knives were a little bit large for me, so I did some research and found out they made both in a smaller version, which can be identified by the M at the end of the model number. I don't know if it stands for mini, miniature, or what what it may stand for, but either way, if you like the designs of those knives but you want something this size, check out the M versions. If you like the design of this knife but want it larger, check out the SCH303 or SCH304 if you want a design on the handle. Also, for those who are looking for the SCH304M review, this review will cover that as well, just by proxy, because the knives are identical minus some patterns on the handle. Before we get into everything, I do want to say that this knife is a copied or stolen design. Alright, many people may not know this. I don't believe Jeff even knew this, but this is actually a copy in terms of design from a custom knife, specifically the Crusader Forge VIST. And the 304 versions will reflect that even more because they even have the milling and the handle scales. But yes, the design is not Schrade's, it was from Crusader Forge. So if you're maybe looking to try out the Crusader Forge design before you spend the money on it, this would be a good way to do so. But if you don't like buying knife copy designs, you may choose to skip out on this one because it is a copied or stolen design from another manufacturer, in this case a custom knife maker. I believe Crusader Forge's custom stuff. Might just be high-end production, I don't actually know. However, I personally don't mind design copies. I'm not a big fan of counterfeits. I will never endorse buying counterfeits, but copy designs happen all the time. Gerber has stolen from CRKT, Benchmade has stolen from Spyderco via the Spider Hole. Companies copy each other all the time. I'm not really going to get too worked up over it. Before I show you the knife, let's go ahead and show you how it comes to you, and that is in this blister pack. I'll be honest, I can't stand blister packs, but it is what it is. I would have preferred a box. I do save my packaging most of the time. And the front doesn't really tell you anything, but the back gives you some information. So you can see we have a 2.6 inch blade, 3.4 inch handle, 2.5 ounce carry weight, 9CR 18 MOV blade with a tie-night coating, and a tie-night coated stainless steel handle. You have a thumb knob, which we just call a thumb stud, a pocket clip, a frame lock, and there's your information on how to contact them. Made in China. Alright, so cool. I actually appreciate that they put the information on the blister pack itself. I wish more manufacturers would give you the specs. Partially because it saves me the time of having to say it all out loud, although I guess it just did anyways, so, okay, whatever. Moving into the blade itself, as it mentioned, it is a 2.6 inch blade, and it is made of 9CR 18 MOV. This is kind of a point of controversy within the knife community because many folks can't agree what 9CR 18 MOV is, and that's because there's a lot of confusion surrounding the name. It very commonly gets mislisted, I believe even by myself, as a Chinese version of 440C. It's not. 9CR 18 MOV is approximately the same as 440B, slightly better in some categories, but it's the closest living relative to the steel. The Chinese version of 440C would be the very similarly named 9CR 18MO, or the also very similarly named 99CR 18MOV. You can go to zknives.com and pull up all three of those steels, you know, the 9CR 18MOV, the 9CR 18, and the 99CR 18MOV to see the differences. But overall, what it leaves you with is a blade steel that will perform a little bit better than 440B or a little bit better than an AUS 8 or ACR13. 440B is very rarely used, so a lot of folks don't know about it, but it's the closest American relative to AUS 8 or ACR13. Okay, think of it this way. 440A equals AUS 6 slash 440A equals AUS 6, 440B equals AUS 8, 440C equals AUS 10. That would be your closest way to look at it. So rambling aside, you have a pretty functional blade, steel. A tad above the HCR13, HCR14, and AUS 8 blades that you usually find in the same price range. The Thinness coating, as you can see, has held up pretty well through my cardboard cutting, and so did the edge. It wasn't miraculous, it did need touched up, but it wasn't completely dull after doing significant amounts of cardboard cutting. We do have a nice hollow grind on that blade, and you guys know I love my hollow ground blades. And I also love how clean the knife blade looks, because it's not bogged down with a bunch of laser etched logos. All we have is that stamping at the blade tang telling us the model number, but other than that, the blade is relatively clean. Love the shape of the blade. It is a beautiful drop point, kind of a spear point drop point hybrid. It comes to a very fine tip, which is excellent for penetrating clamshell packaging, and the blade stock itself is very thin. Some may love that, some may hate that, but out of an EDC knife, I love the thinner blades. I find that they slice significantly better. I'll bring in the Sanrenmu 710, and I'll show you the difference in the blade stocks. If I can get that on camera. There you go. You can see just how much thinner the Schrade is compared to the very popular 710 from Sanrenmu. Overall, I find the blade to be excellently shaped and coated, as well as a great steel choice for the average person's EDC tasks. I know some folks will complain about the CR family of steels, partially because they're a Chinese steel and people don't like Chinese-made knives, but I've never found that I needed anything more than an HCR13, HCR14, or 9CR18 out of my everyday carry knife. Honestly, even a 7CR17, which is kind of like the Chinese version of 440A, is adequate for everyday carry tasks. So that being said, I do like the blade. It is deployed via thumb stud, and you can see we have two rather large thumb studs on here. You'll have no issues getting to those, and the knife comes out fast. Very quick. And the in-handle retention on it is solid. We have a very good detent, so this is not just going to pop open on you. Whenever it deploys, it comes out nice and fast and locks up solid. This thing has no play up and down, no play side to side, and I've been using it for my everyday carry blade for a little while now. It's been in and out of the system. And if we ever did develop play, we could adjust it via that pivot screw. Handle, as mentioned before, is 3.3 inches long, I believe it said. 3.4. 3.4 inches long, and it's made out of stainless steel with the same tie-knife finish as the blade. Yet again, handle is relatively barren, except for a simple Schrade logo. I do like that. If you want a little more on the handle, go for the 303M. Ergonomically, the knife is solid. Okay, it really does feel nice in hand. We have a thumb ramp here. Oh, there we go. We have a thumb ramp here with some jimping on it, but the jimping is completely useless. Even if you could, can you even call two divots in the blade jimping? I don't know, but it is very comfortable in hand, and I haven't noticed any hot spots while using it. Another big upside to this handle is it is very, very thin. Okay, much like the blade. And as a result, it carries very nicely in pocket. Again, I'll bring that 710 in, just because it's kind of such a universally well-known knife. Okay, get those two together, there you go. And you can see how much thinner the 303M is to the venerable Sanrenmu. So it carries nicely in pocket. The weight is very reasonable. At the aforementioned 2.5 ounces, I never really noticed I had it on me. Okay, here's your frame lock engagement. You can see that it's not really a late lockup, but not a super early lockup. It has room to wear, and I like that. If I had to have to complain about the knife, I'm going to do so on the pocket clip. It is for right hand tip down carry only, and it is a deep carry clip. The deep carry clip I know will be a big upside to some. I'm not a big fan of them myself. I would have liked to see this tip up, especially because we have a lanyard hole. So I could even have this deep carry clip on here and still be fine with it, because I could extract it via a lanyard. Sadly, I don't have that option. I suppose I could always tap some holes myself. I'm not so sure that this pocket clip would work. If I mounted it too high up here, I might have to use a different clip. But as it comes in the right hand tip down carry position only with a deep carry clip. Go ahead and bring in the cutlery lever pocket. It's an idea I stole from him years and years ago. And you can see that it does carry nice and deeply in the pocket. I guess there's technically a tiny bit exposed. Might just be how I have it situated in here, though. There we go. so pretty much completely concealed. I would have liked to see it tip up, personally, but I do have a question for the tip down guys. Would you prefer a deep carry tip down clip, like this, or a tip up clip that leaves a ton hanging out of your pocket? Let me know. I'm genuinely curious about that. That being said, though, the pocket clip itself is strong. Very good tension on there. Maybe a little bit too flared up for my liking. I find that when you have a clip that's flared up like this, I can get this in focus. There we go. When you have a tip that's pocket clip tip that's flared up like this, it tends to catch on things. So I might grind that down personally just to keep it from snagging on seat belts and car doors. I haven't had that happen yet, but I have had it happen with other knives of a similar lip. So I wanted to be conscious of it. Honestly, there's not too much negative that I can say about this knife other than its pocket clip carry position. I like the steel. I find it to be very adequate for EDC. I very much enjoy how it feels in hand. I love how thin it is in the pocket. I like the nice lightweight. I like the size. I like the blade shape, the grind, pretty much everything about it. What's the price point on this? Right now, I think this might be discontinued, but they're still pretty much everywhere for about 12 bucks. And for $12, it really is one of the best buys you can find. I have owned and carried very, very similar knives from different companies, to include the CRKT Drifter, the CRKT Bizota, the Buck Nobleman, the San Renu 710, and so on and so forth. And honestly, I find this outperforms all of them. In fact, I would give this a solid 10 out of 10 if I could just put that pocket clip in a tip-up position. That's all I'd want. As it sits right now, it's a very solid 9 in terms of pure value. In cutting performance on that steel and in carry, I do prefer this to the CRKT Drifter in stainless steel. I prefer it to the CRKT Bizota. I prefer it to the Buck Nobleman. And yes, I even prefer it to that venerable San Renu 710, or now the 7010, I believe. It just has so many features about it that I like infinitely more than its competition. I love this knife, I really do. I carry and use it. It's a very good blade. But I find this one to be just a little bit better. In terms of competitive options, there are a lot of different knives on the market that you can get of similar construction and materials. I mentioned the 710, the Nobleman, the Drifter, and the Bizota. What about non-frame lock knives? Well, how about the San Renu 763? HCR13 MOV blade. I think the 7063, the modern versions, use HCR14. This particular one has a G10 handle, but I know the new ones are aluminum. And I also know the new ones are right-hand tip-up only, which is fine. This older version also allowed for left hand, but a nice tip-up carry clip with a very big lanyard bail, axis lock or axis type lock, nice high hollow grind, very broad drop point blade. This is an excellent knife. Overall, do I prefer this to the Schrade? Really hard to say. They're two entirely different designs. I carry them both about equally. How about the Sheffield Gunnison? Find this on Amazon right now for about 8 or 9 bucks. This is a very solid Sabenza type copy, aluminum handle liner lock. You hear my phone go off there. Also a right hand tip down carry clip only. Excellently gemmed blade, nice hollow grind drop point. Do I prefer this to the Schrade? I like this knife. I've been carrying and using this knife, but no, I would take the Schrade over it personally. How about another Schrade? This one is the Mini Landshark. Currently about 15 bucks on eBay. It's been discontinued, so they're on wholesale. Average price was closer to 25 or 30. This uses an AUS 8 blade and has the Magic Spring Assist system. Do I prefer this to the 303? Wait and find out. I'll have my own tabletop on this coming out soon. I'll say this, they're completely different knives, and this is smaller and lighter than the 303 is, as you can see. And then one last one, since I have it here. Just reviewed the CRKT Squid. This is also a stainless steel handled frame lock. It also has a one-way positionable clip only, though this is in the position I do prefer. This has an HCR13 MOV blade with a nice hollow grind, also a drop point. Do I prefer the Squid or the Schrade? The Schrade. I think the Squid is an excellent knife, but the thicker blade means it doesn't slice quite as well. The heavier weight makes it a little more awkward in carry. The lack of a penetrative tip means it doesn't open packages nearly as well as the Schrade does. And it doesn't feel quite as nice in hand as the Schrade. So as you can tell, I'm definitely a big fan of the 303/304M models. They're excellent everyday carry knives for a very high value. And if you're on the fence about them, definitely go and jump on it now before they're gone. They are worth every single penny. Again, this would be a perfect 10 out of 10 if it just carried tip up. So that was my review. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I hope it answered some questions you may have been having about the knife. And I hope that it made your decision on whether to buy one or not buy one a little bit easier. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And until next time, peace and take care.